Now my parents were like, "Get out." They were like, "Yo, hurry up." And if you don't want to hurry
Damn.
up, we're gonna make you hurry up.
Do you think when you have
they
kids,
can live with me forever, man.
you think so?
100%. I don't want to do what my parents did to me. My parents, obviously it wasn't like a get the F out kind of thing. It was more so like a you're grown or like figure it out kind of thing. I wouldn't want my kid to feel that way though. Like the way I felt when it felt like they were kind of like hurry up kind of thing. It was like, yo, everything was a problem. The littlest things would turn into like an argument. And I was like, yo, I don't want to do that to my kid. Or kids, if I have them. I don't want my kids to feel how I felt when I was in my early 20s and my parents were like, yo, figure it out. And I was like, yo, I had a good job. I went to church. I know, like I was
You were not causing any problems, basically.
I paid my little share. The most that I did was my room was dirty from time to time. Oops. But because my room was dirty, it was like all hell broke loose in the crib.
And did you have your dirty socks on the floor and stuff like that? Underwear hanging?
Like that. Yeah, it's like, yo.
Nah, you like, crazy. Bro, I would have get the hell out. You can't live in this house and have underwear. There's a laundry basket. Did you miss it?
Nah.
So you were the one that just took your clothes off and left them on the floor?
Sometimes.
Nah, bro, you crazy.
You got to remember, at that time, I was working construction. I was doing like 12-hour shifts.
I don't care.
I'd come home, take off my clothes, shower, and then pass out.
That's laziness, bro. You take off the
100%.
stuff, put it in the hamper.
But it's not the end of the world for me being lazy. You feel me?
No, it's not the end of the world. The end of the world means death. Yeah.
Right. Get out my house because for 5 minutes, something that took me 2 minutes to do. And when they asked me to do something, I would do it. It wasn't like I would argue. I'd be like, all right, whatever, I got you. You feel me? I don't want my kid to feel like that.
Okay.
No matter how old they are.
I get that.
Chill.
So I had this discussion with my wife. And what I was telling my wife is, I don't mind if the kids live with us until they're 90. But you're not going to live with me and not work or go to school. You're not going to just stay in the room. And
you're not going to be a bum.
Yeah. And you're not going to have children and live in my house either. You have kids. You got to go. These kids are not staying here. I don't got extra rooms where I'm going to start cutting rooms in half.
Yeah.
Once the baby comes out, you go out. Because then not only that, I inherit the baby. I inherit the baby father or baby mama. That's too much. Now, what worked out for me, my dad had a basement. So when my son's mother and I had my son,
you took over the basement.
He was like, you guys could rent the basement. I was like, all right, cool. So we rented the basement. We were there for, I think, almost 4.5 years, almost 5 years.
So you wouldn't do that for your kids?
That's what I'm saying. What my dad did for me, if I had a basement, yes, without a doubt, 2,000%. Go live downstairs, pay me rent. Pay me rent. Do what you got to do. Raise your kid. At some point, I would hope that you will get a bigger place. You know what I'm saying? Because the basement can only be so big. But
see, but like my thing, right, when I was like 22, 23, I had a good job.
Yeah.
I had a girlfriend. I was saving money. I was doing all these things. I paid them rent for a bedroom. I was just in one bedroom. I paid them every month, same thing. But then I couldn't do certain things.
You couldn't have the girl over.
No, not even just that. I couldn't have anybody over, like friends at all.
What?
You feel me? So like, it's like, what's the point of me paying stuff if I can't even have any kind of freedom? No, nothing. You know?
Oh no, that's a little crazy. If you have your own room, I want to do that. Like, hey, you got a friend. I'm not saying bring 20 friends over. This ain't
I wouldn't do stuff like that.
Yeah, like bring your friend. You can chill in the room. Yeah.
But it would be a problem every time. Oh, why is your friend here? But like, all right, like, what do you want me to do? Like, I'm technically I'm grown, right? I can go out, I can do things. But I bought my own car without any cosign, no nothing.
You did everything that you had to do for yourself. Yeah.
So why was it like everything was a problem, right? I don't want to do that. That's my thing. I don't want to do that.
No, I respect that. The one thing that I didn't want, like I said, I think you agree with it too. You can't just be here and not do anything.
Of course not. You better.
And that was the thing with my dad. My dad didn't kick us out or anything like that. He literally told me and my brother, if you're gonna stay here, you're either gonna go to school or you're gonna work. And that's what we did. I actually went to school full time and I had 2 jobs when I was in college.
See, that makes sense. That makes sense.
And I had no problem with it. Like I would have people come over or anything like that, and it was never an issue. Me and my brother, we shared a basement. There was split rooms, so we were not in the way of anything. So it was a little bit easier.
Pretty much half a half. Yeah.
We had our own bathroom, so it was. I think it was more convenient for my dad that way. And then when my brother moved and got his own place, my dad's like, "Would you mind taking a room upstairs so that way we could rent out the basement?" I was like, "Sure." We rented out to someone.
Money.
That person played my pops. So I was like, get them out. And it just all worked out. Like then we had the baby. I was like, Dad, we'll pay the rent. We'll go downstairs. And it just worked out that way. But then my dad moved and then I had to move. And that's when I moved with my mom. But my mom was the same thing. Like I didn't live with my mom growing up as a kid. But my mom always said, like, if you ever want to live with me, no matter what age you are, as long as you're doing right by me.
You need to get on your feet.
Yeah, like, you're more than welcome. And I always thought that was great. And that's something that I always do for my kids as they get older. But they have to learn, like, you're not just going to lay here, bro. You're not laying here. That's it.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
But
I agree with you.
I think also too, there are some parents that are just kind of old school. Like what they went through, they feel like that's life. So it's like, I did it. This is what you got to do. You got to.
Yeah.
And I think that's a little tough because times change. It's about adjusting. And some people, I just don't think they're able to do that once they get to a certain age. It's hard to adjust to the times, modern times.
Bro, like I know people that got beef with their parents for real. Like I don't got beef with my parents. I love my parents. I talk to them on the regular.
That's good.
But there's people that got beef with their parents because their parents did stuff like that where they were like, where my parents, we were able to sit down and have a talk about it. I was like, listen, this is how that made me feel. And they apologized. They were like, my fault. We didn't know. Like we were learning too as well. Everybody else was kind of gone already. I was the last of the Mohicans in the crib. You know what I'm saying? Like,
was it tough for your siblings growing up too? Like, did you witness or did they ever tell you like, hey, dad and mom was bad?
No, so like with my sister, her situation, she had to grow up.
Well, she had the baby young. She had your nephew young, yeah.
At like 18. So she was kind of forced to grow up and figure it out. Was it the easiest thing? No. Was there some foul play involved? Of course. And she told me about how everything happened and whatever. And then my brother, his situation was a little different. Because he ended up joining the military.
Yeah, so it was a little bit different. Like he shipped out, he's gone. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then for me, it was like, yo, I'm trying to get right. I'm trying to figure my stuff out. I got my car, I got my job, I got my girl. Like, let me cook. They didn't want to let me cook.
Damn.
You know what I'm saying? So unfortunately it happened, but then I moved to Florida and I learned my life lessons out there.
Damn.
To never trust certain people. And you know what I'm saying? Now I'm older than I'm supposed to be.